was like, wait a minute, that's not my. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee and Consciousness. I'm your host, Ariana, the Quantum Healer. I got some beautiful ladies that are on the panel with me every week, Louisa, Bella, Katrina, and Vanessa. And we're going to do what we do best, talk some shit today. Now, let me stop. we do have some shit to talk because unfortunately right now, good morning, Ali. Those of you guys representing on Facebook and YouTube, thank you guys for watching the content. Thank you for, even if you're not on live on Sunday mornings with us, just watching it when you guys watch it. Thanks for the views and the likes. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like this video, okay? Because it helps with the algorithm. We're going to kind of look on a couple different sides this morning. I came across a video of this boycott for Target, which I thought that was fucking hilarious when I saw it. And we're kind of go back and forth of why people are boycotting and, why the LGBT community is going to be, I feel, is going to be more harassed than ever these days because of the foolery. But that's what we're going to get in and just talk about. One of the biggest things I want you guys to take from, especially this segment, is to take these conversations back to your families, to your communities, to your loved ones, and open up some dialogue. See what's going on, because the rate that we're going today, we're going to be going downhill on so many fucking levels. And it's easy to be like, it's not my life. I think we talk about this all the time. It's not my life. It's not my problem until it is your child, until it's your grandchild, until it's your sister, brother, mother, whoever is going through these things. And then it becomes a bigger problem. And I think that, not saying you got to rush out there and save everybody, but at least open up dialogue to see why the madness is becoming what it is. I personally don't have anything against the LGBT community. Too many letters. LGBTQ plus community. And I think as an adult, you do what you do. But unfortunately, the way things are going now, I really do feel like a lot of people are pushing the craziness to where in a minute they're gonna be pushing down pedophilia in our throats, and just where does it end is my point. Which again, we'll look at a bunch of stuff. What's age appropriate? Where does it end? Where do the boundaries go up? And where do we say? I feel bad for people who their kids are in public schools right now. Like, I really do feel bad for parents that got to deal with the shenanigans, because I didn't go through all this shit. I didn't have all this shit in school when I was a kid. Like, I don't remember any, especially in no elementary. Like, I don't remember any of this shit. So it's kind of like, where the fuck do we go as a society, y'all? So let's watch the video, y'all, and then we'll talk about it. I think this video is hilarious. Like, to me, they went out. You guys can see that? Yeah.
Yeah. Digital shoppers. Yeah. There's a cleanup on every aisle. Yeah. Target is targeting your kids. Yeah. targeting your kids. They don't even need to ask, cause you all know what it is. Yeah, that's why I keep it strapped, and I'm always by my biz. This agenda gotta stop. Yeah, you know we gonna win when they target, yeah, they target and target, yeah, they target kids. Target, yeah, they target and target, yeah, they target. You know they targets that wrong, trying to play with the kids. It's the mayor of Magaville, I'm preaching again. You know the LGBTQ done went too far. You know they cutting these kids, they leaving trannies with scars. Why they pushing the agenda, promoting sexual genders? I'm only rocking with Bruce, don't rock with no Caitlyn Jenner. You think that gay shit gon' get you paid? Yeah, we gon' see. It's Mar-a-Lago 2024, we trumpet, baby. They put a target on my back, but they're targeting your kids. They don't even need to ask, cause you all know what it is. Yeah, that's why I keep it strapped, and I'm always by my biz. This agenda gotta stop. Yeah, you know we gonna win when they target, yeah, they target and target, yeah, they target kids. Target, yeah, they target and target, yeah, they target kids. Heard the news story, targeting kids. They going after our youth, and yeah, they do it like this. If you ain't mad yet, well, then you better be pissed. Let's protest until they close and they ain't gonna be missed. Why they got pride shirts in the kids' clothing section? Why they trying to mess with the kids and give misconceptions? They manipulating minds and making evil impressions. Got little boys tucking out by time they teens got depression.
We need to clean up on every island side. This door Satan resides. Wash it with the blood of Christ. It's needed here, so don't think twice. Dating with a Satanist, we all know this is the end. God is coming for revenge. Target is targeting.
They put a target on my back, but they're targeting your kids. They don't even need to ask, cause you all know what it is. Yeah, that's why I keep it strapped, and I'm always by my biz. This agenda gotta stop. Yeah, you know we gonna win when they target, yeah, they target and target, yeah, they target kids. Target, yeah, they target and target, yeah, they target kids.
I thought that was hilarious, you know.
I forgot I was muted.
They went all out for their music video. Y'all go ahead. I gotta give them props. Y'all did that all in Target.
Right.
You know, if you don't know why, you know, Target, a lot of Targets, I don't know how many Targets had pushed a big display of LGBT merchandise to the front of the store, and motherfuckers just went batshit fucking crazy on it, right? I used to shop at Target. I don't shop there no more, but I used to like Target. I personally don't give a shit. Like, I think a lot of people were just doing too much. You know, it's one thing, like, again, I get it. You could tell they have a religious background. You know, they made that really clear about their religious background, which again, they're more than, you know, more than right to express how they feel with their background. But some people were just going overboard with the protest and overboard with what they were saying. How do you guys
I
feel about?
know. I know I did a little bit of research about it, and like that video that went viral, they said that was a lie. Like they actually moved it over. It was like a size small in
Mhm.
adults, and they went and put it in the baby part to make it
Oh
seem like they
no.
were.
No, it was real. It was real. Like, a lot of people had TikToks. Like, I watched hundreds of TikToks of people in Target. So it was like, it was baby clothes and kid stuff and like girl
I'm
swimwear.
talking about the one that said like something about tucking. They said that
Oh,
was a size small, and
the
somebody
tuck.
put it in a baby, in the baby
Mm,
section or whatever. So a lot of people was trying to have clout off
right,
of
right,
it and make their videos go viral and stuff like that. Like,
right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the bathing suit for tucking and
they went and put it like in a toddler section when it was really a size small for adults,
Adult.
right.
and they went and moved it over.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
everybody is an opportunist at this point.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
things are gonna sell. And right now, LGBTQ plus, sorry if I misspoke, but it's a hot topic right now. It's selling and people are going to promote it and trying to sell. Now, if there was actually something that said this is for about tucking and that was in the children's section or something, I would be against it.
Mm,
But for for just a pride shirt or um a, a rainbow around the wine, the prosecco, I
right.
mean, for me it's okay, why don't buy it?
Right. Right.
When
Right.
they're pushing it in your face, then okay, it's a little different. It's a section in the store. It's Pride Month. There are people who can capitalize off of this, and Target happens to be one of those places.
Right.
So that's what they're going to do. And then next month, they'll probably be all gone.
Mhm. That's true. I think a lot of the times that happened, I don't know if y'all remember when Walmart did the ice cream for Juneteenth, and it had
That
and
mm,
they made them, and they pulled it off. They pulled it out. Like, people are opportunists. They're definitely gonna try to make money, and these big
Oh yeah.
companies jump on the train also. Because I
I
mean,
don't.
like, I feel the same way. Like, me personally, I could care less if a onesie says pride, because there's some
Right.
same-sex couples who have children, and they can put it on, and that's supporting, their parents or whatever, to each his own. Me
Right.
personally, I mean, I could care, like like you said, AG, I could care less.
I mean, what the fuck does it matter if the onesie has pride or not? You know what I mean? Like, what is the difference between any of the other onesies that people get that, are kind of graphic or crazy? Like I've seen a lot of specialty novelty onesies
Mhm.
and shit that people put in their kids, and it's just like I just think it's
Yeah.
too much. Like again, I get like, okay, you are against it, and you don't, that's not your belief system. But again, there we go with pushing on somebody else's belief system. And you guys know
Mhm.
I'm not someone who I'm for people's rights. So for me, it's like when you look at it, you might not like it, but who are you to say that the other person can buy this shit? You know,
Right.
and is it really being pushed in your kid's face because it's in the store? I mean, when your kid is going in there, all they see is a bunch of rainbow shit.
Mhm.
Like, if you're talking about little kids, all they see is a bunch of rainbow shit. Like, that's it.
Mhm.
All they see is a bunch of rainbow shit. So it's like, okay, let's carry on. You know,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, unfortunately, aren't equipped to have conversations that they're uncomfortable about. I know that if you're uncomfortable, and yeah, we will talk about age appropriate because I do believe, yes, some of this shit should be age appropriate. I think the other problem was the creator of a lot of those clothes in Target happened to be someone who also has a very demonic line. If you guys were able to check that out, the actual creator has this line of like just stuff that's just very devil demon, like if you don't like trans, like basically like murder. It's like crazy shit. It wasn't like you could tell this creator is like out somewhere, and the creator is like, oh no, I'm not a devil worshiper, but it's like, why would you make this shit if you're not a devil worshiper? I don't know that I truly believe that part because of this. Just some of the stuff is kind of over the top. And I'm someone who's loved horror movies my whole life, love vampires, all of that shit. But even with me, there's been an extent to the shit that I will buy. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I'm not buying Satan sigils and shit and put it in my house because I love horror movies. Like there's
Right.
just some shit that is like, are we going overboard with some of this shit? Are we doing too much? So I think that's where a lot of it goes. But of course, people will put it to whatever they want to put it and not look at the bigger picture. And if you're talking about religious people, they're gonna be protesting.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, just like everything else, this week in New York City, Puerto Rican Day Parade. So you're gonna find a bunch of things amplifying Puerto Ricans that
Right.
that will attract them to buy. It's the same thing for me with the pride stuff. And like you said, as long as it's age appropriate and you're not being forced. It's not like that's the only thing in the store.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Just keep it moving. And when Easter comes, you'll have all the Easter stuff or the
Right.
religious paraphernalia in that way. Even during the holidays like Christmas, there's the oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of it. The house,
I was
the
about to say Santa.
no, oh my gosh, the house,
The gingerbread
with
house?
the Jesus, no.
Oh, it's like a
Oh,
novelty
yes,
scene.
yes, yes, thank you. It could not come to my head. And, or the atheist saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna boycott
Right.
Target because they have this religious paraphernalia there."
I don't go crazy when I see the Jesus scene. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't bother me like and I'm not a religious person, but when I'm in the store, I'm not like, oh my God, they got a fucking Jesus.
Right.
It's I think people just be doing too much sometimes. And if you can come to this middle ground, then we'd have a better society versus all of this. Like, it just got to be an extreme. We're either extremely on the left or we extremely on the fucking right. And it's like, how can we all fucking coexist? Because we all are here. Like, regardless to what you believe in, I can't say I understand either one of those sides to the full extent. But it's like, how can we all coexist here? That's my problem. Um, Good morning, you guys on Facebook. We kind of got kicked off Facebook, probably was because of the video. So I had to tether us to Facebook. But I'm show you guys a couple more things, just because the fuckery is real, right? Why not? But again, I feel like age appropriate. Is this stuff age appropriate? And that's where I get to. Is it age appropriate?
I pride myself on being a teacher who's very open about her life. And one of the things I'm very open about is my sexuality. I have a trans flag, a bi flag, a non-binary flag, all on my desk at my work. But there's one thing I'm not open about, and it's being poly. And today that actually became something I had to worry about for the first time. See, the kids are interviewing us teachers as a part of learning how to write profiles on others. They'll soon be doing it with each other, but they're starting with the teachers so they can all work together on one subject. And one of the kids on Tuesday is going to ask me if I have a partner. And the answer is, yeah. And I have another one too. And I don't know how to handle that conversation because while I know that the kids are more accepting of things like homosexuality, bisexuality, all of that, polyamory is not in the conversation. It's not something that is talked about. And I worry not only would this be something that might lead to rumors that I am cheating on my partner or that I am a swinger or something like that, but would also just totally derail the class. So the obvious answer, the one that I went to first, is I'm not going to talk about it. But that feels wrong too. I don't like lying to my students. I don't like telling them falsehoods. And also, I don't feel comfortable answering the question by saying, yes, I have a partner, and having to pick which one I pick as the face for my relationship. That feels super, super gross, right? So I guess what tentatively I've decided after talking with my co-teachers and my assistant principal is maybe the right way to do it is answer the question honestly. Say, while I don't feel comfortable talking about who I'm in a relationship with in this specific setting, I will say that I am bisexual. I've dated people of many different genders. And if you're interested to talk about that or my own specific relationship that you're really, really insistent, let's just not do it in the classroom setting. And we can do it like in lunch or in the after school GSA club or something like that, where maybe it's a little bit more of an acceptable and understanding situation to bring this up. Now, this is a long rambling thing, and that story has kind of wrapped itself up neatly, or at least it will on Tuesday. But I think it talks to a much broader issue, which is that this is a really nuanced thought process I had to have, where I had to consider the emotional maturity of the kids, where I had to consider what they already know and are talking about and what they don't know and aren't talking about. And also have to consider, how does this fit in with the content that I'm teaching? And the fact of the matter is, this is not a conversation that conservatives are having at all. They've decided that blanket statement, like, you can't do this at all. There's no place for it. And that just shows such a lack of thought and care. They're not understanding their children as people and where they're at. They're not understanding the content that is necessary, and they're not reckoning with any kind of reality. Yeah, maybe like this is going to be an uncomfortable situation that may lead to some strange conversations, but that's part of being a person. And I'd rather have the kids be able to have those conversations in a safe place at school than on the internet where there's no one to make sure they're learning the right, respectful information.
Wow.
That's exactly what was in my head right now.
Oh, so many thoughts. One, did she say the age of the children?
No, and she has more videos, but I didn't get to go and look. And of course, is it age appropriate? And, that's my biggest thing. Is it age appropriate? A lot of these teachers, when you come to find out it is grade school or junior high, not necessarily high school, which I do have a problem with that because you have a lot of teachers that are taking it upon themselves to become the sexual education teacher. And just like she pointed out, like, oh, conservatives are not having this conversation. Conservatives don't want to. That's their whole point. They're conservative. They do not talk about these things because they're conservative. They feel like there's a time and a place, and they believe in men and women, and they don't believe, that's their belief system. So again, we go with it's got to be left or it's got to be right, or even that part of why date multiple people. That's you. Not everybody agrees with that. I'm a very open person, but to me, polyamory, that's to me swinging shit. You might as well be in a couple and be swinging. I don't personally agree with it because I'm like, this day and age of people coming up, you guys are just keeping your options open. You just want your cake and eat it too. I don't
Basically.
me. I don't personally ever want to share my person with someone. Me personally, when I think of being with someone in a relationship, it's me and them. I hold that sacred. I don't want to be with you and a third person because I can't get everything from you. So now I'm going to have this other person and this other person to create my relationship. Y'all as adults, y'all do what y'all want to do, but don't. My thing is making it seem like this is just the new norm and there's no other underlying issues to this shit. I got issues with that. I got some issues with that.
I just think like your personal life should not be talked about to your students. You know what I mean?
Right.
Your students is your students. Focus on the curriculum.
Right.
To me personally, if I was a teacher, I'll tell them some questions are just, off limits, because
Right.
to me that's personal. That because then it goes into having to explain and this, that, and the third. And me personally, as a parent, I don't want my child coming home to tell me her teacher's business. Oh,
Right.
mommy, my teacher is poly, and I'm gonna be like, what?
Right.
Like, why is she having a conversation with you guys? You
Right.
guys are her students, And again, like what you said, AG, when did it make them the professional or the face to have these conversations with your children?
Right.
Yeah. For me, it's about also sticking with that curriculum. What are you there to teach my child? And what is it that you're doing outside of your scope? Is
Right.
your personal relationship somehow within the scope of what you're supposed to be teaching the child? In most cases, this would be a no. If you're not in some advanced course where I can only think college wise, where you're discussing different types of relationships, because I remember being in college and taking a course like that. And that was fine because I had the emotional development to be able to understand and participate in that type of conversation.
Right.
Even in high school, I may or may not have been mature enough to have that conversation, but at least be able to understand it more, even if there was some snickering involved. But
Right.
as you continue to digress and go to lower and lower ages,
Right.
it becomes even more difficult for them to
Right.
comprehend. And now they're asking questions that their parents may or may not be ready to discuss with them.
True.
That's on the parents' behalf when they are going to have this conversation, if at all. And I would hope that most parents do. Unfortunately, I do agree that too many do not, but that's still not my place or any other adult's place to do
Right.
that for them.
Right. You know, we were just talking about this on one of the other podcasts where it was just like, I don't we knew we had gay teachers. You guys, this is not new. We had gay teachers. We knew they were gay, but they never were so flamboyant about it. They weren't throwing it at us. They weren't slapping us with the flags. They were just living their lives, doing their thing, and they taught us. And there was never a dialogue or a conversation about their life. Why? Because they kept their personal business away from what they were teaching. They came, they taught us. That was that. You know what I mean? The most you knew was maybe their cat's name, maybe their dog's name, or some shit like that. But some of these teachers, I've seen a lot of shit where this one teacher, it's story time, and all of these kids, which are small kids, they're like kindergarten. I don't know if I saved it or pulled it up for us to watch. She's, instead of story time, her story time is telling the kids how she got engaged over the weekend. Is this appropriate? Like, I know that you want to be close with your class and your students. A lot of these teachers, for me, seem like they need friends. You need friends and you need people to honor you and affirm who you are. So let me go to school and guess what I did this weekend? Why the fuck does that matter to the 5-year-old? I would prefer my 5-year-old have a reading session in this story time. If they're all sitting on the floor, like if you're going to do story time, but you're talking about the ring. And the whole time she's recording this into class, that part is the other part that all of these teachers have their phone recording in the class. Like you literally could go on TikTok and just look this shit up. And it's teacher after teacher recording in a class of a bunch of bullshit. And you have to sit back and wonder, is my kid really learning? Like, what are they learning in these schools? And it was probably about 10 minutes long of her, guess what I did, you guys? And then she's showing her hand to them. These are 5-year-olds, and you could see how little they are. It's not like you can't see. And then when she did talk about how she's getting married, they're like, ew, gross. Why? Because to them, that's cooties. You know, it's like, ew, what you talking about? We don't give a fuck about that. We don't want to talk about that. And then instead of her stopping the conversation when the kids are definitely like ill, she keeps going back to the conversation to talk about getting married. So that's the part that I have a problem with. It's like you guys are using school to talk about your personal lives with these kids. Why? They're not your best friends. You guys are the teachers. Same thing like parents. You're not their best friends. You're their parents. And I think too many people are trying to be these kids' best friends or act like they're their allies instead of teaching and guiding them in the positions that they are. So is it appropriate? Do we need this shit at school? Are we teaching in the whole thing of, are we teaching the correct way? Your ideology is not the correct way though. Mine isn't the correct way. This is just my beliefs, right? So when we start doing that, now you're forcing people to jump on board with what you believe in. And the second you don't believe it, oh, you're a bigot, you're phobic, you're this, that. You're canceled in this culture. They call it cancel culture, right? So
I
that,
mean, as a teacher, you should know that your students are not mature enough to have those conversations. Like you said,
right,
they're going to think it's cooties. They're not mentally e- mature enough to know. And like you said, to me, those are conversations you should have with your friends, family, because what feedback did she really think she was going to get from a group of kindergarten? You know what I mean? Children, like what was the feedback? And, it's sad, but it's like, I noticed that too, that a lot of teachers are doing that. A lot of teachers are bringing their personal life into the classroom.
right,
And it's like, as a teacher, you should know better because me
right,
personally, that's like even an adult. Your personal life is your personal life. They're children. They are soaking up everything that you say in here
Right.
and think because it's coming from an adult that it's the right thing.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So it's like you as a teacher, you know this. So you would know that the things you're saying, me personally, like I said, if I was a teacher, I did teach pre-K for about 3 years. And I mean, why? It was more of how's your day? Talk to me,
Right.
not me talk to you. You know what I mean? Even if you are trying to make that bond with a student or something like that, it's more of talk to me so that I can know, what's going on as far
Right.
as if you need extra help or things like that. But not me telling you my personal and then when it comes to sexual stuff, like
Right.
because then it comes with that, oh, I have two partners, and now you got to explain what two partners is. You think a person in kindergarten, a 5-year-old, is gonna understand that? Some adults don't understand that. That's like me. I don't agree. I feel the same way you feel, aging. If I'm with someone, I don't want nobody else with my partner. What? Like if I'm loving on you, I can't come home and see you in the bed with another chick.
No, it's
Like
like
that's gonna make my stomach turn. I'm gonna want to smack the shit out of you. You know
they
what I
come
mean?
home, they
Like
be like, "Baby, how was your
so
date?"
or I have seen somewhere it's certain turns. They have turns
Yeah.
or three of them is in the bed together, or one
Right.
sleeps with one, one
Right.
night, and one sleeps with the other night. And yeah, I just can't. I would never jump on that. That is a no for me. So my thing is this, and I'm an adult. I'm 45.
Mm.
You think a 5-year-old understands those things? No, at all. But
Is
I
it
think it's more to it, like you said, these teachers, they may be lacking friendships and in companion, like my thing is this: you don't have family and friends to tell them this exciting news, because it's not exciting to a whole class of kindergartens. Yeah.
no, it's not. I do think these teachers are going to school with too much of their personal business. And it's like this next one we unfortunately gonna watch. We unfortunately gonna watch it.
All right, film again. Period, Pooh. Period. How old are those kids?
Probably
Yeah, she
like
was very young.
6th grade, maybe.
Okay. So they look pretty.
10, 10, 9, 10.
What on why is my what I think it goes for me, it goes down to why they're at lunch. I'm gonna take my opportunity for my TikTok to go around and ensure that these kids know my pronouns for TikTok. If you were
Whatever
the
happened
parent,
to teacher? I remember when I was in school, it's like teacher.
right? Well,
It was
a lot of
no he,
um
she,
a lot
teacher,
of
like, or Mr. and Mrs.
yeah, a lot of schools are actually changing it to where they got to go back to teacher. But they say it's more of a so there's no Mr. or Mrs. They don't want a lot of the teachers being called Mr. and Mrs. Which again, I think it should just go back to being professional with your kids. There's too many teachers that are on the TikTok and videotaping people's kids. One, I think that's a problem. So when we're looking at it, it's like not only are you creating this about you all day long in school, you're also videotaping people's children and putting it on your social media account. Are the parents being notified about this? If you were a parent, would you want your child videotaped and blasted on somebody's TikTok? I purposely, when I started getting into going lives and stuff like that, and just the amount of people coming across my social media, I stopped posting a lot of information about my family. You guys don't see me post about my kids' birthdays. I don't post, very rarely you'll see me say something here or there. I don't, because it's too much information, too many people looking at my shit. I don't even have personal social media. I wouldn't even be on social media if I didn't have a platform and did do what I do on, on social media as a business. I think when at some point you have to kind of take that step back and say, one, is this appropriate? But another, you're dealing with other people's children. No one knows who's watching your TikTok. There's a lot of predators out there.
And
That's
so
where
easy
I'm
to
like,
find out who's the teacher, what's the school she works in, just due to her social media, her name, whatever.
mhm,
And now you don't know if there's situations with fathers or mothers that can't be around these children. A video goes viral, they like, oh, that's my child, and now they find a way to be at that school. So, but again, this is what I mean, like with teachers. When you're a teacher, you hold a higher standard of what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? And to me, everyone, again, is trying to make a video go viral, and they could care less
right,
who they're hurting. And, because if that video does go viral and it is someone's kid that is in a battle, a custody battle, they can actually use that to their advantage. But you're so worried about going viral, and
right.
that's I think the biggest problem. As a teacher, you should never put, I would think, your students on any of your platforms, because they're students. For one, you don't have the permission. I know for a fact they are not reaching out to parents and like, oh, do you mind if I put your kid in a TikTok video? I'm sure they're not.
Like real shit. This is the same teacher.
So, first and foremost, what are my pronouns? So they all know my pronouns. It's they, them. It's quite simple. And then the next question was, do y'all respect those pronouns? Yes. I feel like some people think that, like, for whatever reason, some kids don't respect the pronouns. And I'm like, it's not y'all that don't respect the pronouns. It's people on social media who, like, can't gather that. You know what I mean? So it's just weird to me that that's what people think. So y'all respect the pronouns. I don't ever really have issues with y'all not respecting my pronouns. If you ever make a mistake, what do I say? That's it. I just say Teacher Roby, right? Like, if you do, I get mad at y'all or yell at y'all or be upset at y'all? No, it's just a quick fix. So appreciate y'all. That's pretty much it. Line up.
Well, I had less of an issue with that video than the previous one, mostly because at least it was them in the shot and not the students.
Yeah,
I think there is an issue where that is such a huge part of their daily curriculum. The
yeah,
fact that there's the pronouns and they're respected, I don't care. I'm fine with that.
right,
You don't have to say Mr. Mister as far as I'm concerned. Tell them what you need to and correct them as you do. Say Teacher Robbie, period, point blank. But the emphasis on it and to just keep on going into it and putting it out there and showing like, all right, this is what we focus on.
right,
What else are you focusing on? You're supposed to have a level of authority also. And to make these kids like your friends and talking about your life and all of this other, that level of authority starts dwindling down. It's why parents also don't tell their children certain things
right,
until they are older, until they can comprehend and understand, because you have to have this authoritative figure. And it doesn't mean you have to be an authoritan. You don't have to lead with an iron fist,
right,
but there's a certain role, and you want to keep that sacred in the sense that they know that this is my safe person. If
right,
I need something, this is who I can go to because they are the authority on the matter.
right,
That's
right.
that's where my
I
issue
just don't see the point of even bringing it up. Like, Teacher Robbie, that should be it. It shouldn't even be a conversation of they, them, because honestly, they're children. And then when she's like, respect, these children don't know what respecting the they them is. They have no clue what that is. They're agreeing because they're children and she's an adult. So yes, they're going to agree and say, yes, they don't know. They have no clue what kind of respect that is. And me personally, how do you want, they're not your friends. It's different if you're out with your friends and you tell your friend, address me like this. But telling your students to address you a certain way, at the end of the day, you're teacher and it should just be teacher. Teacher, I don't see why the conversation. Like,
Right.
it's no need, like you said, AG, we grew up with gay teachers. I remember my gym teacher was gay, my math teacher was gay, men and women. But it was never a conversation of them being gay. It was just a teacher. It was never a conversation of their personal life. Or so to me, when you're asking children to respect you, they're children. They don't even know what respect is. Like, they have, in that sense, respect me
Right.
to call me they. They don't know what respecting to call them they, them, or dressing. So
Right.
to me, conversations shouldn't even, no teacher should be having that conversation. If when you walk into a classroom, it should be teacher, whatever, and or be all. And then she said, oh, and then I correct them. Like, what? What do you mean you're correcting? So now my child can think they did something wrong because they didn't call you what you want to. No, that plays a part in a children. There's some children who never want to disappoint anybody. So
Mm.
when you sit there and you like, oh no, address me this way, they can really take that personal and think they did something wrong and go home with it and now feel that like, oh, I did something wrong. So the correcting now, if it's different with your friends, if you're out and this is how you want to be addressed and one of your friends do it, they're an adult, then you can check them and let them know, I prefer you to call me this or whatever,
Right.
because I'm sure that's not going to sit on them that you corrected them. But a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a child, again, back to the maturity, they are not mature enough to know what respecting someone by calling them they. They're just doing what you're asking them to do. They're children. And they're gonna agree with whatever, because again, like you said, the teacher, a teacher's on a pedestal. They look up to her or him or they or them or whatever. But so it's like they're gonna agree and they're gonna do whatever it is the teacher says. But they have no clue what's going on. They have no clue why she wants to be called they. They have no clue why she wants to be called them. They have no clue why they can't call her whatever. They have no clue of these things. They're children. They're not mature enough to have these conversations. So I don't even think why bring it up. As a teacher, I will walk in and be Teacher Williams.
Yeah.
Simple.
I mean,
Like,
and that creator has hundreds of videos at that school with people's kids. And that, unfortunately, doing the research and just kind of looking at all these videos, that's the problem with a lot of these teachers. They are at the school, this is what they're doing. It's like, again, like Louise is like, what are you focusing on? What are you really teaching? Because especially those kids, those are young kids. That's elementary. Those kids ain't in junior high or high school. So every day you're drilling this in their head about, to me, and it even goes to grammar. You were younger and you learned they is multiple people. You know what I mean? So now you're having to address this single person as a they. What does that do to, you know what I mean, your mindset? And again, you're grown, do whatever you want to, but the kid, it's a lot of confusion of, wait a minute, we learned how to say this way, and this is supposed to mean this, and now I'm being told this means this. Yeah, I do agree. They'll just be, yes, yes, teacher, whatever you say.
it's true. Now, when they take a test and they confuse them and they, because like you said, for so long, that they means multiple. Them, that's
Right.
multiple. So if they came across something that did have to do with comprehension or, any type of, you know, we learned that as children. them
Yeah.
and they. So now you're confused because this one person is saying, call me them and they. How do you expect a child to not be confused?
No, then test score is gonna drop. Watch, people gonna be like, these kids don't know how to have that comprehension because it is. Now you're, oh wait, you could be they. Okay. So in this sentence, instead of she went to the store, and they do that where then it's like they
Mm-hmm.
went to the store, but it's singular. And I think it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't understand why we even need to go to all of the different pronouns personally. I don't even think it's called for at this point. And unfortunately, it's a pattern of the same thing where you have it's all about me. Look at me. Look at it, look at my TikTok, getting clicks. And unfortunately, like that creator, I don't even know how that creator hasn't been flagged for having people's kids in their videos. Like, I just don't understand that. And that's the caution is just like, are we doing too much? And I do think a lot of them are doing too much. And um, bringing the kids into it in that way to justify and affirm your life. And people say this is in mental issues, but there's a lot of it because when you go into the me, all look at me, all what I'm doing, and you forget that you're there to be this example. You don't need to be a gay, lesbian, trans example. Just be a human. Just be a
Exactly.
person there for those kids to teach them whatever the fuck you're supposed to teach them. I feel like straight people aren't going into the classroom like, I'm straight today, you guys. Hey, class, I'm straight. I just feel like why does it have to go so far? I get the life of someone from the LGBT community is not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that you guys don't have issues. But what is the point of that being in, especially in younger kids' schools, in the conversation? Like, that's the thing. It's just like, take it a step back real quick. Like, concentrate on teaching these kids. Um, like this teacher that we're gonna watch real quick.
This teacher made her students pledge allegiance to the pride flag every day, but you won't believe what happens next. Miss Kristen Pitson from California went viral after she took down the American flag from her class and put up an LGBT one, telling her students to swear loyalty. She stated the US flag made her feel uncomfortable. The parents found out of the plot, started a petition, and she was removed from teaching. People these days gaslight you, saying nothing political happens in school, but it does explicitly. What do you think?
Okay. That one is wild. That is wild for me. You want to take down the American flag, it makes you uncomfortable, okay. But to create your own, yeah, that one is hard. That one is rough
That's
for
the
me.
taking it too far type of thing. Doing too much. The words of AG. They doing too much. That is doing too much.
And she actually, and I didn't get to pull up her video because um but she actually videotapes herself talking about it. And she on her TikTok, of course, and she's like, oh, I don't have a flag in my class no more. Laughing. After COVID, I took it down. I don't know where it's at. She's doing all of this stuff. And it's just like, you purposely took this fucking flag down. And she's like, my kids, if they want to stand up, they can stand up. If they don't want to say it, I don't care. It's whatever in my class. She said, but the kids were like, hey, we don't have a flag. We're just standing here. And she's like looking around like, oh, I'll find it, whatever, whatever. And then she looks behind her like, oh, well, you can pledge your allegiance to this flag.
Why did she have a pride flag in the classroom from jump?
Well, a lot of LGBT teachers have trans flags, pride flags. They got Black Lives Matter flags. Um, I just, you're bringing your lives to school. You're bringing your
Exactly.
political, which all the things that we said we don't want in school, right? Because to me, if you're going to have all of those flags, then why can't the cross be right next to that? Jesus should be up on that bitch too. It's like you're bringing all of your personal political issues to school to say, this is me, instead of just sitting in your teacher spot to teach the curriculum. I'm not
Exactly.
understanding why we got to go there. And she purposely does it. Like her videos talk about that. They actually opened up an investigation because she went viral. And she was the one talking about it. And it's like, you purposely had these kids saying that. And for what? What was the purpose of that? To make them pledge allegiance to the flag? Why? Why is that even a fucking thing? I'm
Again,
not
like I said,
understanding
why
it.
does she even have a flag? If you want to have 1,000 flags in your house, then that's what you do. But in your classroom, because again, now your views on what you stand by or whatever has nothing to do with your children that you're teaching. Like you want to have, but you happen to have one at school.
Right.
Like even the way she's dressed. If you want to dress like that, fine. But you again doing too much with the flag thing. If my child would have came home, I would have been one of those parents that petitioned to get her fired. Yes, I would have, because at the end of the day, it's obviously you don't have the best interest of my children. So you
Mhm.
don't need to be teaching my children. I would have been right there, right with it. So she got fired. That's good for her ass.
I don't think she got fired. She was under leave, they call it, under leave and being investigated. But you know, we live, especially us who live in America. We live here. So not having it's like a lot of people hate this country, and I get it. There's a lot of shit out there. There's a lot going on, but you're teaching kids to hate their own country. You're teaching kids to dismantle their own flag to their own country. Tell me that's not some other agenda shit that has us hating ourselves as Americans. We're not fucking unified at all. Again, like I said, coming into this live, we're not unified. We're being pulled apart on so many levels. And it's just more shit to keep hating each other and hating each other and hating each other. And it's like, I get if you have some issues with your country, but fucking leave. Leave the country
But
if you
then
have it.
again, that is your personal, that
Right.
shouldn't be in your classroom. If you feel some sort of way about America, one, like you said, AG, bounce. Two, why do that have anything to do with your children? How you feel about America don't have nothing to do with that. You're teaching them how to disrespect. And like you said, they live here. And maybe if children were taught to have, like you said, more love and togetherness and things, it would be a better place. But and as a teacher, I would think that's part of your job, isn't it? These are children. You are teaching children. That should be part of your curriculum, is teaching them how to love and togetherness, not, you know what I mean? Like, and then playing the whole game of she misplaced it and this. So again, now you're making jokes and it lying and doing all
Right.
this, and children are not dumb. They're not stupid. I'm sure they were laughing because they knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, for
You
her to be
know,
like, "Oh, I have a flag for you." And it's like, again, it just goes to too much. And again, you're a teacher in a public school setting. You have people who still believe in their religion, and you as a professional should respect that. Regardless to what you feel. It's just like you're not gonna be in school, talking about Trump and all these other fucking bullshit because that's your belief system and your politics. Keep it, outside of just like your professional workplace. If you just think it's a
exactly.
professional workplace, be professional. The kids don't need to know about your life. They don't need to know what you fucking did over the weekend. Like, keep it professional.
It's
Like,
like
I'm
they're grown and they going in to find validation from children.
Mhm.
So to me, you have to look at yourself as an adult. Why do you need validation from a class full of 5-year-olds?
Right.
Like you said, like it's a little deeper than that. And it's sad. I think it's because the teachers are so much younger now. When we were younger, all my teachers was kind of old. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was different, totally different. These teachers are now young. I remember my daughter being in school, and I think she was like in 4th grade. And she's like, "Mommy, My teacher was on Facebook all day, just scrolling. And she was like in fourth grade, third grade when she told me this. And I said, it's a damn shame. Like these are the teachers that are responsible for teaching our children, but they on social media. They even
Right.
that taking time to record a TikTok.
Right.
When you're doing this, you're taking time to record a TikTok, but you're on the clock of getting paid, but you're making a TikTok.
Right. I found it actually, the one of her talking.
Okay, announcements and allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words. So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet. But my kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I got to find it. Like, I'm working on it. I got you. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
Yeah, I'm still not a fan. That didn't make me any more of a fan, obviously, right? I don't think that was what we were
Right.
thinking was gonna happen. But yeah, just very, very inappropriate and taking her beliefs and putting them on others. And as somebody who I believe is pretty free, like with what others think and how you feel and how you live, that is still going way over the edge for me. And just like we don't want to see that far, far right, like you were saying earlier, going far, far left is not any better at all.
Yeah.
And it's not that those of us in the middle don't exist. We're just not the ones that are getting the airplay.
Right.
It doesn't sell. It's not exciting. Switzerland, being Switzerland, is not exciting.
Right.
So they're going to keep on pushing these agendas in our faces from both extremes.
Yeah. It sucks. Like I said, I really feel bad for the parents who their children are out there because it's hard right now, and those agendas are strong. Whether it's the left or the right, those agendas are very strong, very much out there, and your child is in a fucking battleground for their
And
minds.
that's where all the questions come from. They're asking questions because they're confused. That's just like if I'm straight, right? I'm straight. I have a straight flag. Like, I mean, do I have to put a straight flag in my classroom now since everyone, you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy how
Is there a straight
they
flag?
want to be so included, but they discluded. I don't think we have one, which
Maybe
is
we need to
even
make
worse.
one.
Yeah, for real.
Which we're gonna have to in this day and age because that's another thing too. How about you're teaching and a student addresses you as they them because their teacher, so now you have to explain, oh no, I'm straight. Now they like, what the fuck is straight? You know what I mean? So this
Right.
is confusing again, even with just being out or being around someone, and if you've been taught to address someone and say we happen to have sweatpants and a big shirt or looking kind of boyish or something, and
Mhm.
a student addresses us as they them, thinking this is how am I supposed to, and they don't want to get, again, like what she said, the other girl said, I have to correct them, so they think they're doing something right, and it's like we're gonna be like, no, you don't have to address me like that. You can address me as Miss Williams. You know what I mean? So now the confusion, these are children.
Right.
So again, do I have to put a straight flag up in my classroom?
Mm-mm. As adults, whatever you want to be called, but If you are the type of person that every day you are somebody else, I'm not playing the mental game with you. I refuse. And that's not being phobic to anything. I think there's a limit to what I'm willing to go along with in this life. And some people are overboard. Like, today I'm this, today address me as this, and you got to know my 14 pronouns, and any on any given day I'm a different one. I'm sorry, I'm not playing the game. I'm not playing the game. I just don't even agree with all of that. Like, y'all do you, but I'm not playing that game. Like, that's a lot of what is going on with you mentally, that every day you are somebody else. Because before all of this shit, and it is mental issues, you guys, because that's how it's approved by the insurance. The insurance improving all of these, affirming care is under mental issues, to where they're saving lives. So that's a whole nother podcast. But
Now, how confusing is that for a child? So every day you come into the classroom and you want to be addressed different, or even just in society by themselves. Children are already dealing with so much as a child. Like, when I think back when I was a kid, I say all the time, I'm glad I was a kid. And when I was a kid, we did not
Yep.
have these issues. Our biggest issue probably was having to come home early when we didn't want to, because we was outside having so much fun. You know what I mean? So now we like, I don't want to go home. You know what I mean? Those were issues. These kids have issues of they wondering what they call this person, who they call this person, feelings that they're feeling that has you shouldn't be feeling any sexual feelings as a child. 7, 8-year-old, we're riding our bikes, we're falling, we're playing, jumping rope. I know those were my issues when I was on a double dutch team, and it's like, I want to win. You know what I mean? I wasn't worrying about if maybe I'm gay, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, just certain things that these children already have so much on a plate, and now you're adding more into me. And then they wonder why these children are growing up with mental health issues. You done confused this child since they were about 4. And it's not even people, it's society. Every time they turn around on TV, in the movies, all these different things, social media, all that. So at 5, they're confused as fuck. And then you go into school where the girl said it was safe. How is it safe when they're confused also?
Right.
Safe is something they don't have to worry about. But when you're 5 and you gotta worry about if I address my teacher correct or not, that's not safe.
Right,
To
right.
me, that's not safe. That's not A child should not have to think or feel some sort of way because they address someone wrong.
Mhm. Even I've seen a bunch of even like parades in elementary school, the LGBT parades and stuff. And I'm just, again, is it appropriate? Is it appropriate in elementary? Like, I know you could say that in high school, because in high school dating is a thing. They're dating,
Right.
they're curious. A sexual education is a thing because, of course, safe sex is a big one. You start getting into safe sex and all of that stuff in high school. And I get it. That's appropriate conversations to have. But before that, I mean, I guess in this day and age, junior high would be sexual conversations, because I think junior high, they wilding out these days. But elementary, I'm like, can these kids just be kids? The other part of where people are going off on is, if you go like, and TikTok is a big place for this, right? So I always say, parents, don't have your kids on this shit until you feel they're ready. Like, don't give them these social media apps and contraptions and think that they're just going to be looking at, like, little kid shit. It's not.
Mhm.
There's a lot of trans man people on there who are topless, and they haven't got the surgery yet. So breasts are all out, and this is not being censored on TikTok. So you got hundreds of videos of a woman who hasn't had the surgery yet, no nothing, boobs are out, and talking about it. Again, is that appropriate? Like, Now, if I jump on there with my boobs out, I'm gonna get censored real fucking quickly, right? But why, if I put a label or a tag that says trans man, why is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Your kids, and it goes down to parents, your children are going to be open to so much. The second you type that shit in, boom, here it goes. And you know, once you start watching one thing, the flood comes, the flood
Mm-hmm.
of these videos. And to me, it's what's appropriate. What is appropriate? I could see that video being for adults that are looking for information, but again, why is that not censored or blurred out? Why is that, oh, up? Why is it okay? Like, there's a lot of stuff that's just not okay with it. And unfortunately, TikTok is an open space. It's not just for adults. It's not just like, oh, only adults are on TikTok, so do whatever you want. We could say the same for people twerking and showing their ass. We could say the same for all of those videos that stay up on TikTok. But at the end of the day, if you're a parent, I think you need to be very involved in what your kids are watching, what your kids are looking at, and don't just hand them that fucking phone or that tablet and just, you know, oh, go look at whatever you want because they're going to be seeing some crazy shit that's going to come up there. And once you type, click on one thing, they're going to see a whole bunch more.
Yep. That's how you get on whatever talk, whether it's witch talk,
Yep.
gay talk.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok is not just TikTok anymore. You will get flooded with that. And I think it's important what you said about parents watching over what their children are seeing, what they are viewing, check their search engines. But we have to remember that in the school, that's different.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the parents don't have the control over that
Mm-mm.
in most cases because they don't know
Right.
I was
until
just about
the
to say, we're
child
not even aware these things are
until the
going on in the
child comes
classroom.
back and
Yeah.
tells them, "Oh, this is what I encountered in school today, not from my fellow students,
Right.
but from the teachers, from the adults." And
Right.
that's where things get weird. So yeah,
And it
let
starts
kids
so small. Like I know my niece is like 3, and her mother would just give her the tablet. She'll go on YouTube, watch, the little thing. She started, and it goes even with YouTube, not even TikTok. Started watching videos in another language. So when it was time for her to start talking, everybody was like, she's not even talking. She was saying it in the other language because she was watching videos in another language. So it goes to being 3 years old, 2 years old, when these parents are giving them the phone, giving them the tablets to shut them up, and you don't know what you're coming across. Because YouTube is the same thing. You watch something, it's going to show you more likely the same thing. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So it's like even that, and I notice a lot of younger parents, I would say, is quick to do here's my phone, here's the tablet, go on YouTube. You
Right.
still have to monitor what they're watching on YouTube at 3, 4 years old, because if you can find a video in a whole nother language, who knows what you can find also. So
Yeah.
it's like, as parents, we have to be on it, even like that. Go to the search engine, see what they pull up, or put some blocks or something.
Yeah, but in order to be able to say the parents are held responsible for what they're allowing their children, the teachers have to be responsible for what they're feeding the children
Yes.
outside of the parents' control.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's where the parents' rights bill came into play. We talked about this on another segment where, because parents aren't being notified of everything that's going on at school, there's a lot of shit that's been happening at school that parents don't get notified. And so I hope more states implement it so that now you guys as parents need to get involved in your children's school. You need to request the curriculum. You need to go up there and take a day to see what does that child's classroom looks like. You need to be involved. There is no
Mhm.
more send your child to school and expect them to not be taught certain things. You need to get involved and understand. If you know any children, you say, how was your day? Good. What'd you learn? You know, they'll tell you one thing. You have to be like, tell me one thing you learned today. And then they start talking. If you just ask your kid, how was your day? It was whatever, you know, and you just leave it at that, you won't fucking know half the shit that's going on at school. You have to push yourself to stop and say, okay, don't just tell me it's good. Tell me, what did you learn? Tell me a subject you learned. Tell me what class that you really liked. Tell me something that you didn't like today that happened. And then they start getting into, oh, well, so and so did this, or, you know, this happened, or my friend was mean to me, or, you know, or whatever. But if you just let them come in and you don't ask them, because I know people are in the hustle and bustle of life and just like, oh, how's your day? Good. Okay, we carry on. Or you have multiple kids and everybody's going off. But as parents, you got to take that step back, and because there's so much going on in school that you're not going to be notified, you know. And as you see, and this is, I just showed you like a couple teachers. This is a bigger thing. There's tons of teachers, and a lot of them are like, my agenda is to make sure you know, your child can be comfortable. And if, you know, like a trans man is a teacher and was like, my job is to let little boys know that they can paint their nails. And is it your job?
Definitely
Is it
not.
part of the curriculum? Does the curriculum say that we need to teach boys that they can be okay to paint their nails? Why is that your job? You know? And I think that you as teacher, as parents, get more involved in kids' schools and the curriculum and the education boards, and understand what's the flow of this. Because until parents step up and really start like questioning stuff, this shit's going to get worse at school. And I don't care what
Mhm.
your personal beliefs, but at school, is it appropriate?
And it's sad because these children are there, what, 8 hours a day? So this is 8 hours of something, you know, and then it's just so different.
Can you
It's
imagine, like,
sad.
what is this even teaching the kids? For you as a teacher to be on your phone, I don't agree with even parents being on their phone 24 hours, because what are you showing your kids, right? But can you imagine, let's say you see this at home where your parent always has the phone in their hand. Then you go to school and a teacher always has the phone in their hand. What are you learning as a child? Now I'm gonna have this phone in my hand because every fucking adult in my life has this fucking phone glued to them. And everybody is me, 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 look at me, selfies, you know, like it's like, what are you teaching the kids though? I need someone to see me and validate me. And it's something that we work so hard to break, you know, on these paths to deal with our issues, so that we don't need validation from everyone, so that we're not running around trying to have everyone give us that, because nobody can give that to you. And instead of teaching children about that, nobody is going to be able to validate you in this life. I don't care how much they agree with you. At the end of the day, if you're feeling shitty within, if you're having issues within, you're going to continue to have more and more problems. And just having a bunch of people, hooray, whatever the fuck you got going on today, is not going to be the end result. It's not going to be, you know, on your mental health. And as a teacher, I think you need to take a step back and say, am I helping or hindering these kids? Does my personal life have any fucking business in this school? Like, what are we doing? And that's why I say it's just going to get worse if people don't get involved. And unfortunately, a lot of people from the community will take it as people are against them. And I think you guys also need to take a step back and remember, it's not that people are against you, but you can't push what you believe in on everyone also. And there is a time and place for these conversations. In elementary, for one, I don't think it's that, you know, what, like you're these teachers just recording and recording all day. The fuck? Does, you know, I
Yes,
would,
that's what I was about to say. Like, we only see a little, 3 minutes of what they uploaded. Who's to say this is something they're doing all day? So now you send your kid to school for 8 hours,
right,
and 7 of those 8 hours, either their teacher is doing TikToks or explaining what, you know, that it's just weird to me that even the schools need to be more aware and take action into these things. Like, you have a curriculum, follow the curriculum. How does your personal life fit into your curriculum you were given to teach third grade?
right.
So to me, these schools need to start, or even that, walking by and seeing the classroom and a gay flag up in the classroom, like, again, to me, they need to start, because we don't know. We have no clue what's going on unless we do go up to the school, unless we do a pop-up or we meet these teachers and stuff. And again, like you said, AG, a lot of people is working 2, 3, 4 jobs. It's hard to just come up. It's sad that we have to do it now. Back when we were growing up, we went to school for 8 hours. Our parents knew we were in, pretty much decent hands. You were going to school to learn. If you didn't learn, it was on you, because the teacher's going to teach regardless.
Right.
Now we're so concerned of what's going on. For 8 hours, did my child get taught math and algebra, or did my child get taught that they, about poly relationships? Because we don't know. We only seen the little 3-minute TikTok video. Who's to say for 8 hours they're not doing this video?
Right. So next, I'm like, if it is okay for everyone to have whatever flag they want, what's going to stop the pedophilia flag from coming in? Because there is a flag for that. They created a flag for that. So what's going to stop that flag?
Which is sad. They got a flag and we still don't got a flag.
That might be the next venture. We might need to make the flag,
because that is
go ahead and capitalize on this shit.
It's so sad that we need to go down that route to get a flag. Because
I just
now,
think we need
again,
to get
like I
paid on
said,
it.
they may address us in a way, and now we have to be like, oh, I'm straight. That's just like there's no straight parade. There's no, like,
don't get shit. We don't got shit.
It's like, fuck y'all.
I don't know. Maybe we need straight month. I don't know. Maybe I need to capitalize on this. Maybe that's
exactly.
my next
No
business
straight
venture.
month. No, no parades. We don't have a flag.
I'm about
Even
to
these
design
sickos
that
have a flag. Pedophilia, like they have a flag.
Right.
What the fuck? Who did that?
You can't call them. You can't call them pedophiles anymore. You got to address them as people. People. Wait. I think it's like that maps mature adults.
Right, exactly.
Mature adults.
Exactly, Louisa. I don't even want to know.
Sexually attracted to minor people. It's like, wait, what? You know what I mean? Because this is where we're going, y'all. It doesn't stop with the LGBT craziness at school. It keeps going to all of these other people. What's going to stop the KKK from having a flag out at school? What's going to stop all these hateful groups from popping up? Well, hey, shit. If you can fucking post this, then why can't I have my Confederate flag in this bitch? At some point, we got to draw the line and say, y'all keep that shit outside of the classroom.
Exactly. That's your personal. You can have whatever flag you want in your house. Do not bring it. And like you said, you're bringing it to a public school. This is the public. Like keep your stuff in your house. Your beliefs is your belief. You're there to do one purpose. You're a teacher. One purpose is to teach, and not to teach about poly relationships. That is not what they signed you up for when you went for that job. That is not what they said. You're a teacher and you do get a curriculum. Follow your curriculum. It ain't on there. Do what you got hired to do. And I noticed they say that a lot. Well, I'm here to educate them, and I'm here to this, and who said why? Because we ain't asked for you to do all that. On your job description, I'm sure it's not on there for you to educate them about poly relationships.
Right. Are you even in sex ed in elementary? I think it's like 5th or 6th grade, right? That sex ed comes into the picture around it, right? They do the very basics. I don't remember in sex ed that they had a picture of a man and a woman going at it. You know what I mean? They taught us the basics of female and male
body.
The boys
it was
went
more
into
body.
The boys class. We were in the girls class learning about periods and shit. They was learning about testicles, Like
It's true.
and now you have a lot of these teachers with these books. I've seen some of these books that are so fucking graphic that are approved for age 10. They got men and men in the bed. How is that appropriate? We're barely, you know what I mean, telling them about their sexual organs, and now we're gonna slap on positioning and all this other extra stuff. Like, it's too much. Like, just take a step back, teachers, and those of y'all who know people, just take a step back. And that's why I said have these conversations and open up, because I don't think a lot of people get that they're what they're doing. They think it's right. They think that they're helping these kids, and they think I'm creating a safe space for them. And it's like, no, you're actually creating a very uncomfortable space for the parents, the children, and everything else. And it has nothing to do with being phobic or being against the LGBT community. Okay. It's more of, is it appropriate? And I think that's a lot more of what's going on than people actually being hateful or, yes, there's hate out there. There's hate in everything. There's hate in every aspect of life. Somebody hates you for some reason, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, let's respect on both ways. It's respect those parents, respect those kids, and don't bring your shit to school.
That's my thing. Like, where's the respect? And to go back to the straight thing, because to me, it's like we're getting tossed to the side. Our feelings doesn't matter. Nothing, you know what I mean? Like, you want everyone to accept you, and I'm all for it too. Like, I have a niece who's transgender. I have no problem at all. My thing is this: don't while you're trying to be accepted and want to be included, don't disrespect you know what I mean? Because you're fighting for something for so long, like, oh, we want to be, but don't not include us now. Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, we're getting like the short end of the stick. And it's
Right.
like, again, if you don't agree, now you're phobic of some type of something. And it's, oh, because the minute I don't agree with one thing, now I gotta have this phobia of you guys. No, it's not even a phobia. Maybe I just don't agree with this part of the situation. It has nothing to do with that. It's awful. And I'm real big on what you said, AG. My thing is this: as an adult, I could care less what you do and how you do it. I could care less. You could be with 5 different dudes, 5 different women. You can dress how you want to. But when it has to do with children, and now you're confusing our children when
Right.
they already have so much stuff that they have to deal with, body images, loving themselves. That's like you said with school. When we did sex ed, it was more about our body. It wasn't about intercourse or who you have an intercourse with. And it was
Right.
our body. It would teach us about our body. Now they're doing that, books with men and men in bed. We learned the man's body, we learned the woman's body. We did not learn how to use these
Right.
bodies. Now they're
Right.
showing them how to use these bodies. Now,
No.
fifth grade, come on, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think that needs to continue to progress. We don't need that part of it. That is not
No.
the part of sex ed that is missing, okay?
It's missing for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
because
one
they're
needs to
mentally
know.
they're mentally not mature enough. There's some
Can you
grown-ups who
imagine
isn't
though?
mentally mature enough
Can you
to
imagine that
where
conversation to kids? Like, not only are you going to go into the vagina and, the penis, but now we're going to bring in anal sex. We're going to like, you just keep going with it, right? Too much,
Yeah.
Mhm.
too much, like too much for these fucking kids. It's just, yeah, y'all. This is where we're at though. So I'm going to show you guys this though, real quick. So again, um, to the child, that's Paw Patrol. If you've ever seen Paw Patrol,
Oh my goodness.
if you've ever seen Paw Patrol, you know what I mean, which is these animals on a cartoon. My grandsons used to watch. This kid is like, "Oh, You know, you know what I mean? Is this age appropriate? It's not. Any parents taking their kids to pride parades, there's a lot of sexual shit going on. I don't care who you are. Nobody can sit and tell me that, oh, all these parades are just family friendly. They're not. People
They're
are walking
definitely
around in
not.
bondage. I seen one person who was in a truck. They were whipping this guy that was all in bondage and shit. You know
They
what I
be
mean?
having their ass cheeks out, all type of shit, which is uncomfortable for adults. And you're gonna have children there.
So again, you can't say that this is family friendly when this is what we're seeing and it's in your face, right? So the person who's just like, I just wanted to bring my family to a pride, parade or gathering, unfortunately, you're going to see this because it's a very highly sexual thing. And if you're against this and all of a sudden you are a bigot or some other shit, I'm sorry, my 3-year-old wouldn't be at this damn parade. And it's sad because if you are someone who wants to support their friends or family, if you are someone who wants to go, you're going to be very limited on what you can support because there's going to be people like this that want to come in bondage. They want to do extra. Why does it have to be overly sexualized? We look at, even when we talk about rappers, we talk about all these people who are overly sexualized in every category. Why has it gotten so bad to where this is what it is? That child don't give a fuck that y'all in bondage. I'm pretty sure she don't even know what the fuck's going on. She just see the fucking kitty looking masks. Nobody explains why the mask looked like that in the first place.
That's their innocence.
Okay, well, I will say, us as adults looking at this, we are obviously sexualizing it, and I am quite horrified looking at this scene. But the children are not quite seeing it that same way. I do also agree that it is not the place for them, and I think many parades are not the place for
Oh no.
children because, oh my goodness, some of
Oh
the
no, I
things
just saw some shit last night, Puerto Rican parade in Chicago, and girls was twerking on the car. Again, it's not just the LGBT community. I don't want you guys to get that idea of what I'm saying, because I could cover many shit that's like, your kids should not be at this fucking parade, because unfortunately you got people that are going to step out and do adult shit. They're drinking, it's adult oriented. You got to kind of take a step back. But it's just like, it's out there. We can't keep saying that things aren't over sexualized,
Yeah,
know?
because they are. That
It
is
is.
pretty damn
Your
sexualized right
your
there.
your kid doesn't know what this is for, and I agree with you. They don't know what this is for. They just probably are like, oh, I pretend to be a dog too.
Right, exactly.
Mommy, can I get a choke holder too so I can play dress up?
But then it
And
goes
that's the
back
part.
to
That's the issue.
it goes back to, again, considering people. If you know that there are going to be parents there with children, consider that. Don't dress up in your outfit you dress up for your man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, let's just be honest. You have, to me, and I notice that a lot with their community, they want to be considered so much, but they could care less about anybody else. And it's like, to me, there are going to be parents there who are probably out there supporting. So they are going to have children. So why would you go to the parade with your ass cheeks out? I mean, let's just be honest. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, want to consider so much, but could care less about anybody else's feelings or how they feel.
I say that to everyone in that aspect. If you want an adult venue, make it an adult venue. If you want your ass hanging out, and I don't give a fuck what community you're from, make it an adult situation. But if we're like, oh, this is family oriented and you want kids and all that to be a part of, then let's take that step back and go, oh shit, kids are going to be here. Maybe we don't have our asses out. Maybe we're not in bondage. You know what I mean? Maybe my tits ain't hanging out because kids are here. Maybe I don't have Daisy Dukes, but my balls are hanging out. Like, maybe, just maybe, we think about the fucking kids. And again, when we look at it, it's not about the kids. Everybody's fighting for this shit and no one's giving a fuck about the little ones that are right here looking up to everyone like, oh yeah, this is reality. Because they don't know. I don't think a 3-year-old understands what's going on, but it's the implication of, oh, I want that because I play. I'm a man. I remember being
That's
all
the part.
types of animals when I was a fucking kid. I would have been like, yeah, I want that. I want to, you know what I mean? Because, I'm a pretend. Okay. I want to choke her
Yeah.
too. And not even understand. So then what happens, and we know it happens all too well. I just did stats on one of my other podcast shows where I did stats on how many kids are sexualized and abused. And it is scary, the numbers, and it is normally by people who know them. So now when that person that knows them starts playing with them in that manner, then what? I talk about it a lot. I was that child who someone started playing with me in that adult manner. It changes you. When you're sexualized young, it changes you. You can't get those innocent years back. It's gone. And so I always urge parents and people, even if you don't have kids, have some common fucking sense to be respectful and have your adult time, but don't add kids. Why do kids need to be overly sexualized into shit that has nothing to do with kids? You know, I got this last one to show y'all, and we'll we'll end it here
Wrapping up.
because I think we're gonna go around and around it. I think we all can agree it's like what is appropriate, right?
Oh, I know this one.
Are 3 years old children right age for this? Yeah! Is this right education? Do even children understand that?
What is it about a grown man costumed in a sparkly bra with augmented boobs busting out, a leather miniskirt barely covering his twerking ass with tuck tape on his front while spreading his fish-netted legs as he writhes on the ground? I just want to know what it is that makes a drag show family friendly. Because if you follow it to its logical conclusion, you can slap family friendly titles on anything. You can have family friendly gentlemen's clubs, family friendly strip shows, family friendly 50 Shades of Grey read aloud. Will you approve my flyer if I want to host in all the sex secrets of the Kama Sutra for kids and families? It's
What are your
family
thoughts?
friendly. That's my question.
I know you can't really hear her, but like she was saying, like if whatever you could slap family friendly on anything. So she was like, "Will you guys approve my flyer if I want to teach some sexual whatever and say it's family friendly?"
Right? Family friendly Kama Sutra. That was like the last one she
Yeah.
said. Come
Yeah.
on, let's be serious. That is definitely not family friendly. It's definitely not age appropriate. It is
Right.
definitely not for children, but for some reason it was.
Yeah, it's like we're at I mean age 3. That's kind of daycare because you're seeing some infants in there. So that looks kind of daycare-ish because some daycares got daycare/preschool. Because I know my daughter
Mm-hmm.
went to a daycare and she actually did preschool in that daycare before she went to preschool in the elementary. So I know some of them have that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, who approved this day? You know what I mean?
Right. That was
Oh,
my
wow.
thing. The
Who
director,
who
the
was like, this is
teachers.
the show that we need to have for us and the children?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm lost at the logic behind all of it. And I think that's where my place where I'm coming from is I'm lost in the logic of who was like, yeah, we need a I don't know what day they called that, but it was just like, who thought that was appropriate? And we don't know if it
Even
was
the
the parents.
performer, I'm gonna call them a performer. Even the performer,
Right.
when they were asked to come to this daycare or whatever for 3-year-olds, why the performer, knowing their act, knowing what they're gonna
Right.
do, said, no, I pass. I don't think this is appropriate for children. I mean,
Right.
to me, that's what an adult would have done. An adult would say, 3-year-olds, no, this is not my target audience, and would
Right.
have declined. That's what I
Right.
think. I mean, you're performing for 3-year-olds.
Right.
I think it comes
Right.
down to money in that aspect. Some people will just do anything for money and they don't care who it affects or how it affects. And as a parent of a child who is anti-LGBTQ, he would be furious. Like, he would come home. He does not support any aspect of it.
Right.
As a parent, I have asked him, like, it's okay if you're gay. Like, I understand because I support and I want him to be comfortable in his own skin. He would be furious to have seen something like that, because we have talks all the time. My niece at like 8 decided she was bisexual. That's too young to decide that you're bisexual, first off.
Right.
When my sister tried to have the conversation with her, like, if you're bisexual, that means you have to eat vagina. And she was, now my niece is 13, so she like talks to her like this, and she's like, no,
I
you
was
don't.
like,
That's disgusting. And because my niece is becoming sexually active and at that age, so like my sister is becoming a little bit more real with her, and she was like, no, that's disgusting. Like, she didn't even comprehend that that's part of being bisexual.
right.
My son comprehends it on a different level because he watches porn, and he's 13, so like he's at the age where, like, and I talked to his therapist. His therapist said that that's a normal age for little boys to like start watching those type of things. I put a block on his phone so he can no longer do those type of things. But
Right.
my point is, they don't understand. They don't get it. I would be furious at the fact that these flags are being posted in my kid's school. The teacher is making him recite the pledge of, sorry, this just infuriates me. So
No, it's
that's
fine.
not your decision to teach my child.
Yeah.
I teach my child to be open to LGBTQ, and for you to go above what I'm saying, and you don't even know if my child's comfortable, which he is not. So now you're making him say they, them when he's not comfortable with that period. So
Right.
now who cares about how you feel? It's about how my child feels. So what about the safety of how he feels? You're making him do something that he's uncomfortable with doing because you're uncomfortable. Where's the line? There isn't any. So keep your opinions out of the school. And why does my 13-year-old know that one of his teachers has an OnlyFans? Why does he know that? He shouldn't know that. Keep your business out of the school.
It's the oversharing.
Yeah, and he knows one of his teachers is a stripper. Like, I'm just like, why do you know this?
Right.
And the shit that he tells me that he comes home from school, I'm just like, I wish I could pull you out of school and homeschool you, because I'm not ready to teach you these type of things. I'm a very open-minded person, and I let you make your decision on a lot of different things. Because my ex-boyfriend would be like, oh, he's gay because he likes fingernail polish. No, I think he's just going to like have a fetish with women with nails, because he's always said at 5 years old, like, mommy, I like when your nails are done.
Right.
So I think he just likes people with their nails done. So like, I started asking him these questions, like, hey, it's okay if like you're gay, and like, but he's not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have a lot to say about that, because it's just so frustrating, especially coming from a niece who doesn't understand, and a son. So they're on a total opposite spectrums,
Right.
and trying to teach them both in a different way is so hard.
I like how you said, though, you're like, I'm very open and I teach them to be understanding, but your son is still choosing, like, no, this ain't me. I'm not for
Right.
it, right?
It's not for him.
And
Like,
again, as
Yep.
a parent, you're like, I'm not even trying to force him in that belief system. That's just where he stands, and this is what he believes now. That could change or whatever.
Right.
But again, at school, he should know his teachers have a fucking OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm like, how do you know that? He was like, oh, my friend saw it.
I will
I'm
tell
like,
you, though,
what?
you as the parent, though, you have every right to go to those school board meetings and ask and request the whys behind that. Why does my son know somebody has an OnlyFans? Why does my son come home and say this? You have every right as a parent to ask those questions and get answers from the school board and from the superintendents, from the principal.
Right.
And I think that's the only way things will change, is when more parents have the conversation with the kids, but don't just stop there. Like, wait a minute, maybe we need to have a bigger conversation with the teachers and the principals to say, why is this an issue? My son is coming to learn, not learn about your private life. And I think that's where I think we all agree, like, the private life is your private life is your private life.
Yeah.
I don't think any kid at 12 should know their teacher has a fucking OnlyFans. We know what OnlyFans means.
Exactly. And the ones who don't know what that is, now they're curious to know what is OnlyFans. So now there goes that conversation that they're not mature enough to know what that is. But I agree with you, AJ. I think we have to start making it aware to these schools, these principals, to know what's going on in these classrooms. These principals are not aware if no one brings it to their attention. So they can start, doing what they have to do to these teachers to let them know that this is not what you're here to do. There have to be some consequences of what you're doing when you're in, when you're here to do one thing and you're doing something else. So maybe if they did fire them or did, you know what I mean? Some kind of, I don't know.
Discipline, like, think about your life choices before you come and do the things and talk about the things that you're saying, because there are consequences to your actions.
So what you're doing, exactly.
But if nobody knows, if no one's complaining, then again, we just keep going down the road of they're going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
And
they're going to push it to something more because, like you said, your son knowing she has the OnlyFans, how do he know? Oh, because someone saw it. So now his classmates seen her OnlyFans. How much more now? So now even if they never seen a woman or whatever it is she's doing, they're now exposed to this, and it's their teacher.
I was going to say it's different when you're like the kid watching porn, right? Because it's all fantasy. It's a lot. And we know that it is very common for boys. Not to say it's not common for girls, but it is more common for boys to start getting into porn at a certain age. We kind of know their genitalia is on the outside. They're tugging on shit. We kind of know that goes there.
Yeah, that's a normal, now this is your teacher, a normal feeling.
Right? You're watching your teacher and you go to school. How can you function as a 12-year-old boy with all this shit going on inside you? How can you function at school properly and learn with that? Somebody explain that to me. You can't. You can't see that or unsee it, should I say, right?
Right.
Now when this teacher is around, these little boys are like, ooh, you know what I mean? They can't fucking function now.
And they start calling her out her name, then she wants to get them in trouble, call their parents because now they're calling her out her name. You made that happen. You're no longer the teacher that I look up to. You're the girl on OnlyFans shaking your ass.
But I mean, to me, is that are you really like that's your side job, or now are you recruiting at school? Because as a parent, I'd have to ask that question.
Right.
Because these teen boys are very vulnerable, and you know how much money and kids swipe their parents' cards. I mean, we hear it all the time and be charging shit. And if you're someone who don't look at your bank account, look how many people they got like 20 million things just coming out of their bank account and they don't even fucking remember half of the memberships you got, right?
That's me. I'm that type of person.
And I mean, it happens.
No, it's true. How did the student see her OnlyFans? Did he subscribe to it? Did he purchase it? So again, like you said, are you in your classroom promoting it so you can get these subscribers? So yeah, that would definitely be a conversation that I would have to have with the teacher. I'm not going to even lie.
A lot of kids have their own debit cards these days. You know what I mean? And let's say these people are smart and their OnlyFans doesn't have a porno title when it's charged to your credit card. As a parent, would you even know?
Just the fact, even if you've seen OnlyFans, I mean, we know what, you know what I mean?
What if it doesn't even say OnlyFans though? How would you know? It's just a $10, $15 charge every month. You don't know, you know what I mean? You don't know.
You thinking it's Xbox Live. And
right. Like, especially for my company, it says like these 3 little words until my bank actually approves it. And I'm like, half the time I'm like, what the hell is that? Until a week later that it actually clears it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So when I initially first look at it, I have no clue. And I'm like, what the hell did I even buy?
Right. Right.
And I'm thinking someone's like, it's fraud because I've been hacked a few times. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope. That's a
Mhm. And my school district is known for having sex with minors. So, like,
oh my God.
this wouldn't be the first time. When I was in school, there was one specific teacher that had interactions with a lot of different little boys. So, like, I didn't say anything because he couldn't tell me what teacher it was. He couldn't tell me what kid said it. So I'm just like, I
Right.
can't just go in there and with no information and it be little boys just talking. You know what I mean? And
Right. I mean, I would say start with maybe just attending the school board meetings and the parent teacher nights or, things like that. And I know it's kind of hard because a lot of kids are going to be afraid to tell who said what and what teacher because they're afraid of that kickback. What happens when this person knows or this, that, and the third, or they get in trouble? There is a lot of that. And again, this is where parents are going to feel like they're powerless in a lot of these situations, you know? But I think we got to make noise somewhere. I haven't had any issues with the boys so far. Luckily, we haven't had any issues like this with the boys. They've really just been able to be kids, and they're almost 11. And me doing this research, I'm always looking at a bunch of stuff, and one of them happened to be like, by me, and he was like, "Nana, what's transgender mean?" And I was like, well, there's men who go through a lot and they don't like who they are and they want to be or they choose to be, women, and then vice versa. And he was just like, like, what does that, and I was like, yeah, and some of them get surgeries and they really don't like who they are. And he was just like, that's stupid, and then walked away. And I was like, all
yeah,
right then,
that's
you know,
exactly how my son feels. He's like, that's just stupid. And I worked in pediatrics, not to cut you off.
yeah,
And these parents at 15, 16, and 17 are allowing these kids to get injections. And
yeah,
I wasn't comfortable giving those injections, but because it was my job, I was made to do it. And then they'd come back because we seen kids until they were 21. They'd come back. Some of them would come back at like 20, like, I regret it.
yeah. There's a
So
lot of
you're
that going on.
allowing these children at 15, 16, and 17 say that you're trans and you want to be this and you want to be that. You're not realizing they're still not able to comprehend half the shit that's going on. So, like, they might see something and be like, oh yeah, I think I might be really a woman, but I'm a boy, or vice versa.
Right.
They can't decide that at 15. And
No.
if they really feel that strongly about it, don't go to the route of taking medicine, because you don't even have to go to a therapist at first. You could just say, I'm this, and
Right.
start taking medicine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go have them go to therapy.
Yeah.
And so they could figure out those things before they damage their life. And some things you can't come back from. Putting all those chemicals in your body, you
Yeah.
can't come back from that a lot of times.
We actually cover this.
I was
Me and
just
Bella,
about
we
to
cover
say.
this, and we react to What is a Woman documentary by Matt Walsh. And we cover a lot of this on that, where it's unfortunate where these kids are as early as before puberty is where they're pushing it. You don't need to get a psychiatrist or therapist to really sign off. And a lot of them are signing off after one visit. You go one visit and they're signing off. Um, and now we're seeing the first wave of people who have had these injections and stuff, because this is a pretty new thing going on. This is not something that's been like years. And you have 14-year-olds with osteoporosis after 2 years on testosterone. You have, all of these different, you have kids that are, these adults now that got cancer in certain places of their body because injecting the different medications. What they used to claim was, oh, it's reversible. Now they're retracting, saying, oh no, there's a lot of stuff that's not reversible.
Yeah.
You got little boys and little girls who they take the puberty blockers. They either take the testosterone or the estrogen, which is synthetic and not real, right? And it changes their voice. Once they stop, their voice doesn't come back. The girl doesn't go back to the girl voice. She has now a deep voice, a manly voice. The boy doesn't get his voice back. It stays at a high-pitched girl voice. So the lies that they've been told, unfortunately, your child, you as a parent have to sit back and say, my child wants this right now. Is it necessary? Is that what I really want, because they might not be able to come back from this. When if you wait till you're older, most likely they say they'll just be gay or lesbian, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you look at these surgeries, some of these doctors are willing to perform as young as 13. 13-year-old getting a double mastectomy. You know, there's these girls who've got their breasts cut off and then they change their mind a couple years later. And now it's like, I don't even know if I have kids because you've pumped your body with all this. Now you don't even know if you can have a family. That's the problem. And so many parents are jumping on this. You know how much it is for transgender medication per month? It's almost like $400 for some of these parents, even with healthcare. Your healthcare does pay for a lot of it. The sucky part about it is your healthcare pays for a lot of it because they deem it like they're saving lives. So in the writing, if it's medically necessary, you know, and now they push the, oh, your kid's suicidal, your kid's going to kill themselves. So now it's medically necessary, and now your insurance covers it. You know, we spoke about this on the other one where it was like, I can't go get a boob job with my insurance covering it. Like even a woman who has big breasts, you know how much she has to go through to get a reduction? Her back is hurting, all of these things. You know how much loops she has to go through to get a fucking reduction and get help and assistance to get a reduction? It's cosmetic surgery. You want to be another gender, that's cosmetic. If I want perkier boobs, that's cosmetic. If I want a bigger ass, that's cosmetic. If I want a flatter tummy, that's cosmetic. You know, but it's for years now that insurance is covering it and we're calling it medically necessary. No, save up your money and get your fucking surgery. like
Even
everybody
now
else.
with going through the therapy, like when we seen the video, the therapists, they're one-sided. They're
Right.
approving these things because they agree.
Right.
So you're not even safe to say, you know what, I'm gonna take my child to get some therapy, because you don't know what is being said at these sessions, to
Right.
where, because now they are one-sided, they all for it, and it goes back to what we talked about before about money and things like that. So now you can't even trust your therapist, your child's therapist, to be honest and have the best interest of your child,
Yeah.
because that's not what they're doing anymore. They're approving without doing the true things to see what's
Right.
the deeper core of why they feel like that.
Right. There was a thing where they called one of the offices and they had a Zoom visit. It wasn't even a face-to-face visit. It was like a 20-minute call to get the reassignment surgery. And they were like basically coaxing them on what to say to get it approved by the insurance. And when you look at the bigger scale about that, and this probably be a whole nother conversation, I don't want to go too far in it, but when you look at the bigger scale of it, of everyone else who has to pick up, if you guys don't know how insurance works, when things like this change, people are paying higher copays. People are paying higher deductibles to offset the cost of these surgeries. So if I'm someone who doesn't agree in this and I have this insurance plan, I still have to pay for it. You know, it's coming out of somewhere. So this is not free money that's just coming out of somewhere. These insurance companies are going to get their money from other people some way, somehow. They've just found a way to do it. They found a way to jack up the prices. Have you guys seen the price of fucking healthcare? Now, if you have it through your job, it's one thing. You get a discounted rate because they have like whatever, many employees. But someone like me who's self-employed, it's like $500 a fucking month for healthcare. You know what I mean? How is that even okay? And I'm paying for shit that has nothing to do with me, you know? So I just think when we're looking at the grander scale of things, you can't just sit back and say, "Well, why do you care?" Well, I care because it does affect
It
me.
affects
We
me.
think that you can sit in your life and say, "Well, this is my life. Why does anyone care?" But everybody's choices does affect each other on a grander scale, whether it comes to those insurance deductibles, or it comes to the schools of these teachers being overly out with everything and having, these TikToks and your kids being on film. I really, really would have you guys ask your children, does your teacher film you guys in class? It's going to be scary at how many of you are going to see that your kids are being filmed and shit and put on somebody's public TikToks. But it does affect everyone around you. And it's not about being hateful. It's not about being phobic. It's about what is the grander scheme of things going on. And I think that is where, we should take the conversation instead of right or wrong or this or that, appropriate, and look at things, really look at things, and we can have conversations. We can have loving conversations about this, we can be respectful, and you don't have to agree. I don't have to agree with your life choices, but I think we can agree on the appropriateness of where and when, especially in public settings, especially in public places. And there's a lot of parents who can't just homeschool their children. So they have no choice but to send them to public school. You know, that's the part that gets kind of like tricky. But as parents, you guys, you're going to have to get involved, like really involved, and ask more questions than just how was your day?
Yeah.
It sucks. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to, asking the questions, showing up, and doing as much as you can as a parent. Because even so, in the classroom, unless you're able to be there every day, every hour, you can only do but so much.
Right.
But making your presence known
Mhm.
is a step in the right direction.
Right, right. That is everything. I think that's the game changer, where it's like, no, this is my child. I'm very fluent in their life, and I'm very present in their life. And that people want to be respectful both ways. Both ways
Exactly.
it counts. And
Exactly.
maybe we
That's
can
my
get to
biggest
some
thing.
normalcy, because we didn't have all this shit. Like, we had other problems, but this wasn't it.
This damn sure wasn't it. That's my biggest thing. Just be considerate. The same way you want us to be considerate to you and your needs and what you're
Mhm.
going through, be considerate to us. Be considerate to other people. I mean,
Right.
that saying goes so far. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So at the end of the day, if you want respect and you want to be considered in things and stuff, do the same thing
Right.
with us. Say to yourself, you know what, like even that teaching, and you talk about it, put yourself in a parent's, and say, as a parent, would I be okay if my teacher was saying these things to my child? Like,
Right.
it sounds so selfish to me on their end. Back, like what AG you say all the time, it's the me, and forget everybody else. And while it's you're causing damage to children, because they're children, and where you think you doing something good, you're actually causing more damage to them, because now they're more confused,
Mm.
because they're not mature enough to understand. They're young. Their maturity level is, they're young. They're not going to understand. They're more confused. So where you thought you did good, you actually did more damage.
Yeah. Yeah. When I say this a lot, when my grandsons were small, they would grab girls' toys. We would watch shit on Disney, and they would go from Mickey Mouse to fucking Umi Zoomy, and then it would be some like really girly show, and they would watch that shit because it's colorful. One of the things that me and my daughter never did was like, oh no, that's a girl show. Oh no, that's a girl's color. Oh no, that's a girl's this. And they're fine. It didn't make them gay. It didn't make them anything. They're two boys, and they've had girlfriends already. You know what I mean? They're fine. My daughter would be doing her nails, and they would want their nails painted, and my daughter would paint their nails and they would come off. They're fine. I think the bad part is adults are overthinking this shit. Adults are making it more than what it is. Because again, like when we seen the little girl with the little in the pride thing, she's not looking at all of that. She just sees little puppy dog faces, and this is like, ooh, you know what I mean? Adults are pushing all of the craziness. And once you get it in your head, like, oh my God, he or she touched this, or oh my God, my daughter likes football, you're pushing them to an ideology. You're pushing them in this road where they have to be this. They will get to an age where they start to experiment, right? But I do feel like what they see and what they are raised around does influence them heavily in their
I
life.
agree.
It's not that we didn't have gay people in our family and around us. It just wasn't a conversation that we needed to have. Again, we had gay teachers. None of us gave a shit. Those
Mhm.
teachers didn't talk about it. We didn't
Mhm.
care. I didn't grow up hating gay people because they didn't talk about it in school. That wasn't an issue
Exactly.
for me.
Yeah.
And it could be the same way the other way where parents teach hate. I know that that's out there. I know that that's a thing. But again, you have the adults that are starting it from young. You're the adult. Take a step back. Kids have an imagination. Kids play. They're not thinking about the shit that we're thinking about. They're not
Yeah,
they're not
they're
changing
children.
until
They're
we
so
paint them.
innocent. They're innocent in the things, and it's like people in society is the one who's putting these things in their head. They're innocent. They're children. They have no clue what half of these things are.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Let the kids exist. And
Right.
even, okay, a little girl says, I think I'm a boy. I'm a boy today. Or a little boy says the opposite. Okay, what does that mean to you? It might mean, oh, because I was told only girls can wear pink.
Right.
It might be because, oh, only boys can ride bikes or play with cars.
Right.
So just let them exist and be and have their innocence as long as possible without trying to figure things out, without trying to put the label on them for whatever else it needs to be. Like,
Right.
because there are little kids where you see them and all right, this one's gonna be gay when they get older,
Right.
but okay.
Right.
You don't have to push it like, "Oh, you're gay, so let me push all of this
Right.
on you right now." Like, no, exist. Just
Just be
exist.
right. It's crazy that you said that because that's a lot of what you hear some of these parents. Well, when they were little, they just love to play with this. And it's like, and I say this a lot, especially on the other podcast, is like the same thing that you say does not make a boy or a girl is the same thing you use to now affirm your child, right? The same thing that you say doesn't make a boy or a girl is the same thing. Oh, they're touching they're touching a Barbie. You must be gay, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, you're dressing up. Kids always fucking dress up. And I use it as an example. My brother played with dolls with me. You know, he was the only sibling I had. You know what I mean? Didn't make him gay. He's fine. But he played with me. He sat down and played Barbies and played dolls, stuffed animals and shit too. It was just like, because kids play. I
Mhm.
truly believe just let them be kids. And if they, that save their innocence as long as possible, because this world gets very cruel, it gets very crazy. And as if your kids can be kids, the longer they can just be kids, the better. I
Mhm.
talked about this, I think, on my TikTok where I was like, allow your children that first at least 7 years of their life to just be kids. Because a lot of people talk about like they're mad that kids aren't being taught critical thinking and all this other shit in grade school. And it's like, I see a lot of course, African Americans that they want the kids to learn the truth about slaves and all this shit. And it's like, make sure it's age appropriate. And I don't think a 5-year-old can understand the gruesome backing of genocide. You know what I mean? What conversation is that to a 5-year-old? Can you imagine? Well, let me tell you about the genocide. I get we don't want to learn about Christopher Columbus and the bullshit behind it, but again, is it age appropriate to the child? And if your child can just be a kid for the first like 5 to 7 years, which those are the most crucial years of a child's life, it really does make or break them. Like, why not allow your child to just be that? Like, I don't understand why we have to push all the adult shit on them. And that goes to the gruesome histories behind us. There's a lot of gruesome history. Is it necessary? Is it appropriate? Is that really going to help your child in third grade? You know? No? Then why are we talking about it? Like I get at some point they need to learn it. When I learned about the Native Americans, I was in my 20s. That shit was devastating to learn. It was not easy to comprehend, So I'm not saying that, we should lie to them about a bunch of stuff, but I don't think everything is appropriate. I don't think everything is necessary. And their innocence is going to be taken in so many ways, Like, let them be kids. Let them play. Fuck. That's our take, y'all. Mic drop. All right, you guys. So we'll wrap it up there. I know we're at 2 hours. We always get to talking, but I always love our Sundays. Once a month, you guys. I don't have the date of next month. You'll just have to stay tuned. So whenever you watch this, drop us some comments and let us know. I know right now everyone is scared to comment. People are scared to say how they feel. Everyone's scared to get canceled. So know that we're definitely not the ones that are going to chastise you for your belief system here. So you could drop a comment and let us know how you feel about the content and where you stand. But hopefully you guys take something away from this and get to go have those conversations with your own people and your own communities. And hopefully we have a better change coming and not go into the catastrophic, detriment of society.
We gonna start working on that straight flag.
I am. I'm jumping on the train. If Target and everybody else can monopolize on the LGBT, I think we need to go ahead and do the straight flag. Let's make some money real quick. Let's get it patented and make some money real quick. Like, hey, why not? There's a pedophile flag. I think at this point, straight flag is it.
I think we deserve one if they got one. Like,
I would just like to sit downstairs. How about that?
At this point, I just am like, why not? Why not? I think we can make, a few $1 billion and retire. Like, why not? Why the fuck not? Straight flag coming soon, you guys.
Stay tuned.
All right. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. Thank you guys for watching. Again, we will be back next month. And don't forget to go check out all the other content far as Real Talk Corner, which is another reaction show me and Bella actually do, where we look at videos and we react to them. And of course, we just bring you real content and react to it. And we can have these conversations, as well as the podcast. Season 2 coming very, very soon. So get excited. Thicc Goddess Energy Morning Show coming back August 14th, Mondays and Fridays, 7 a.m. So new episodes coming. I'm very excited to have that coming back. So as always, you guys, sending you so much love, so much light. Until next time. Bye.